we're going to discuss finding the perimeter and area of quadrilaterals. A quadrilateral is just a polygon that has 4 sides. We want to note that when we talk about perimeter, we're talking about the measure of the outside of the polygon, and when we talk about area, we're looking at the measure of the inside of the polygon. Our first quadrilateral is a trapezoid. A trapezoid has 4 sides, 2 of which are parallel. To find the perimeter of a trapezoid, add up the length of all the sides. Our first trapezoid has side lengths 13 meters, 16 meters, 13 meters, and 26 meters. Let's add those up to find the perimeter. We have P is 16 plus 13 plus 13 plus 26. We're adding, order doesn't matter. The answer is going to also be meters, so I didn't write it as we go because it just takes up a little bit more room. I have this answer that 16, 13, 13, and 26 gives me 68, and then it's meters. The area of a trapezoid, you have to add the 2 bases. So the bases are considered the sides that are parallel to each other. You add them together and multiply by 1/2. What we're doing there is we're finding the average of those 2 bases. And then we're going to multiply by the height. The height needs to touch both of the bases at right angles. It could be that one of the sides touches the trapezoid at right angles, and then that can be the height, or it could be that the height is given inside. Let me show you what I mean. I could have a trapezoid where one of the sides is perpendicular to both bases, the other side is not. That's okay, so I wouldn't have to give the height inside the way I did in the picture. Right, so let's use an example. Here I don't have any dimensions on it, there's just numbers, but I have 13, 17, 29, and 17 on the outside and 15 on the inside. The 13 and the 29 are parallel to each other, so when I do the area, I'm going to take 1/2 of 13 plus 29 and then multiply it by the height, which is inside, which is 15. Now you can put all of this in your calculator at once. Just remember to use parentheses. That way it will first add the 13 and the 29 before it multiplies by 15. I have an area that's equal to 315. Our next type of quadrilateral is called a parallelogram. It has 4 sides. Opposite sides are both parallel and equal in length. So the trapezoid, I only had 1 set of parallel sides, and they didn't have to be equal in length. Now I have 2 sets of parallel sides, and parallel are always equal in length. To find the perimeter of a parallelogram, we are going to add up the length of all 4 sides. In our figure, I have 7 centimeters and 8 centimeters, and then 4 centimeters inside. We'll ignore the 4 for now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat the 8 to the parallel side and repeat the 7 to the parallel side. It's often helpful with 4 sides to see 4 numbers, that way you add them all up. Our perimeter will be 8 plus 7 plus 8 plus 7. Again, our answer will be in the same unit that the picture was drawn in, so it was all in centimeters. Our answer will be in centimeters. 8 plus 7, 8 plus 7, that gives me 30 centimeters. The area of a parallelogram is the product of the base times the height. Again, the height is going to touch the base at a perpendicular, which means a 90-degree angle. So look for this dashed line so that when it touches the base, I can see that it hits at 90 degrees. In this example, we're just going back to the one I just had with the 7, the 8, and the 4 inside. So now I want to use the 4 centimeters as the height with the 8 centimeters at the base. So my area is 4 times 8. That's 32. Now this time I had 4 centimeters, let's write that up here, times 8 centimeters. So having the centimeters twice means my answer is centimeters squared. Area is always squared. It doesn't matter what shape I'm talking about. Whatever unit I have is squared when I get to area. Our next shape is a rectangle. Again, 4 sides. But this time, all of the angles are right angles. The opposite sides are equal and parallel. So it's kind of like the parallelogram where opposite sides are the same. But this time, All of the corners are right angles. Once more, the perimeter is just adding up the sides. So here I have a rectangle with sides 12 centimeters and 7 centimeters. Let's just copy that 12 over to the top and bring the 7 centimeters over to the left. Now I have 4 numbers I can add up. So the perimeter will be 7 plus 12 plus 7 plus 12. I'll put the centimeters on the end, right? Because that's my unit. The unit isn't changing. So I have 7 plus 12 plus 7 times plus 12. That gives me 38 centimeters. Area of a rectangle is simply length times width. Here I have 7 times 12, which is 84. Again, remember we talked about area is always going to be squared as my unit, so centimeter times a centimeter is centimeter squared. And then the last of our 4 quadrilaterals is a square. So a square has 4 sides of the same length that meet at right angles. The perimeter is adding them all up, which is 4 times whatever the length is, and the area is the length times the width, but this time because they're the same, we can say it as side squared. So a square is just a very special type of rectangle. I don't want you to think you have to memorize a bunch of things. You can have a formula sheet, but also you can refer back to thinking how they're alike, and having that connected thought process should really help you. So let's look at this square. It's 4.8 inches by 4.8 inches. To get the perimeter, I want to say, well, I had 4.8 4 times. Let's go ahead and write it as 4 times 4.8, just so we don't have to hit the 4.8 in our calculator 4 times. This tells me I have 19.2 inches. To get the area, I can write 4.8 times 4.8, or you can write 4.8 squared, which gives you 23.04 area, so I know it's inches squared. Okay, so now that we've done the basic shapes, let's go back and do some more. Why don't you try these really quickly? Pause me so that you're not hearing me talking. Try to get the perimeter and area of each one, and then when you're done, unpause me and see what the answers are. So hopefully now you're back and you have that I had 2.8 plus 7 plus 2.8 plus 7, which gives us 19.6. We want to make sure we say that's in inches because this is perimeter. The area, I have 2.8 times 7, 19.6, but remember now this is in inches squared. So there is that difference between perimeter and area. They may have came out numerically equal, but they are different because with area I square it, and with perimeter it's just in the regular unit. For our second one, which is a trapezoid, the perimeter, we're adding 8, 6.6, 6.6, and 12. Which is 33.2. That's in feet. And then to get the area, remember we're doing a half. The base 8 plus the base 12 times the height 6.3. Which is 63 feet squared. For the next few examples, I threw some multiple choice up so we can quickly go through a few and just have some more practice. So what I want you to do is look at the shape, look at what question I'm asking, pick which answer you get. If you want to, of course you could pause me so you have more time to answer it, but then just make sure you check it. So the first one says find the area, and I have a rectangle that's 8 by 3. Hopefully you say, oh, well 8 times 3, that would be 24, and it's yard square. For the next one, I'm also asking for the area, but this time it's a square. It's 6 feet by 6 feet. So what do you think? Hopefully you say 6 times 6 is 36, so the answer is A. Okay, let's pull back some stuff we did before. Here's a triangle. I have 7 for the height, 24 for the base, and then 25 for the hypotenuse. What do you think the area is? The area is B. Remember, with triangles, you're doing 1/2 the base times the height. So I would have 1/2 of 7 times 24, which gives me 84. Here's a parallelogram. Again, it says, tell me the area. So if you do the area, it's 1.8 times 2.5, which gives me C, which is 4.5 square meters. Okay. Another area, here's a trapezoid. All right, so hopefully you remembered that you were supposed to add the 6 and the 8 together, multiply by that at 1/2, and then multiply by 4, and you get 28. Let's look at a little application of where would we use this. So the first thing I grabbed was a 65-inch TV, has dimensions of 56.7 inches by 31.9 inches. So let's find the area of this TV. So to find the area, this is a rectangle. We're going to take 56.7. We're going to multiply by 31.9. Which gives us 1,808.73. Remember, this is inches, so now this will be inches squared. Look at this different shape, where it's kind of a combination of two shapes. I think it kind of looks like an upside down L. So I've given you 4 centimeters, 2 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 2 centimeters. Now the first thing we want to say is this is not a quadrilateral. It doesn't have 4 sides. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because it has 6 sides, I know to do the perimeter, I need to add up 6 numbers. Right now I have 4 centimeters here, I have 2 centimeters here, and then I'm missing a length. Well, here's what I know. From here to here is 2, and it's supposed to be 4 altogether, so 4 minus 2 says this is also 2 centimeters. If I look this way, this was 4, and this is 2 more, this left side is 6 centimeters. Now to get my perimeter, I'm going to add 4, 2, 2, 4, 2, and 6. So here's what I'm doing. I say 4 and 6, that's 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's 20 centimeters. Of course, you can put it in your calculator. To figure out the area, I want to split the shape. And it really kind of depends on how you see it to how you split it. One way to split it would be right here, where I make a little 2 by 2 square, along with a 6 by 2 rectangle. So the 6 by 2 would be 12. The 2 times 2 is 4. So I have 16 centimeters squared. What's another option? You could split it this way and make a rectangle on top. So the rectangle on top would be 4 by 2. And then this would also be 4 by 2 at the bottom. So I would have 4 by 2 plus 4 by 2. This is 8 plus 8, which is 16 centimeters squared. 2 ways to get the same answer. I'm happy with whichever way you do it. Here, I think this looks like a house. I have a rectangle topped by a triangle, and I only asked for the area this time. So when I look at it, I do see those 2 shapes, and I think, well, if I'm going to get the area, I need to add the rectangle to the triangle. Well, what do I notice? I notice the rectangle is 24 by 8. This 24 at the bottom is the same 24 that becomes the bottom of my triangle. So I need to know the height of the triangle, but I also have this 12 foot. So I've already used the 8 as how high up or the width of the rectangle. So this difference between 8 and 12 says the height of this triangle is 4. To get the area of the rectangle, I'm going to do 8 times 24. To get the area of the triangle, I'm going to do 1/2 the base, which is 24, times the height of 4. 8 times 24 gives me 192. 1/2 of 24 times 4 gives me 48. 48 and 192 gives me 240. Let's go back to the shape and notice it was all in feet, so we're going to call this feet squared.